Hello there, I'm Sam, working for Plant Life up in the Cairngorms National Park, up in North Scotland, and among other things, at the moment I'm working on Aspen bristle-moss. So mosses and lichens and these rare species tend to be pretty overlooked, which means it's really exciting to have a project where we have the time and space to start thinking about these little tiny things, these rare species. But I'm really hoping that we can get kind of two things out of this. Firstly, and possibly more importantly in a sense, we could just draw attention to the very rare and very often overlooked little things that grow on bark or rocks, um, or other places, dead wood, all these sorts of places that we don't normally think of as valuable habitats in their own right. We think of a tree, but we don't think of everything that lives on the surface of the tree. When things grow on other things like that, it's called epiphytes. So the a lot of the orchids that grow in the tropical orchids you might get from the supermarket, they would be epiphytes. The ones that grow in bark, they're actually naturally adapted to grow on the trunk or the branch of a tree. So when you go up to a big old tree, you probably see it's covered in green things, mosses, lichens, and that's what I'm looking at in this project is a specific community that rely on aspen. The reason I'm looking at aspen partly is because it's quite rare in the UK, and that's a particular reason why we're looking at Cairngorms, because Cairngorms has most of the density of aspen woodlands of the UK left in it. So the number one species I'm looking at is called Aspen bristle-moss. The Latin name is Naiholmiella gymnostoma. But it's only known at 3 sites on about 60 odd aspen trees. So it's really, really, really small population. And actually globally, it's pretty rare as well. But yeah, so we're trying to figure out what we might be able to do to encourage it to colonize new sites. There's also other species that rely on aspen. So in fact, alongside mosses and liverworts and hornworts, which probably most people would just kind of think of as green mossy things, there's also lichens, which I imagine a lot of people might have heard of. Aspen has one of the largest communities of specific species of lichen relying upon it. I think there's 45 species of lichen in the UK which only grow on aspen trees. So that's 45 species that rely solely on this very rare tree. Mosses in general provide habitats for quite a variety of microscopic creatures. So they're almost like, as I say, if you get in a microscope, they're almost like a little forest of their own right. The Cairngorms in northwest Scotland is rich in lichens and fungi like this because of habitat, but also because of air quality. So many species of lichen and moss are quite sensitive to pollution in the air. When you're up here in the woodland in the Cairngorms or on the west coast, all the trees dangle in lichens and are typically coated in mosses. You'll get these beautiful things called usnea, which is old man's beard, which is like this sort of length. It could grow a foot or longer off the bark of a Scots pine tree or something else. Great big dangly, beautiful grey lichens. Because it's really hard to take action for these sorts of mosses, we can't moss like we can plant a tree necessarily. They're very rare things. It'd be really valuable to have a clearer understanding of exactly what we can do and what these rare mosses and these rare lichens need to survive in Scotland and across these sorts of the aspen sites in the UK. So we can take action to protect them, as well as actually studying them and highlighting their importance.